Welcome to the D-Shift podcast, where we provide inspiration, motivation, and education to help you transition from the challenges of divorce to discover the freedom and ability to live life on your own terms. Are you ready? Let's get this shift started. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the D-Shift podcast. And this is going to be a fun and important conversation. So I have an expert on here today that is going to talk to us about kind of two things, life coaching and money, and how those two things kind of can't be separated in reality because they are a part of our life. So I want to introduce you to Serena Sevits. She is passionate about creating financial strategies that really are dedicated to helping both individuals and businesses. And Serena really wants people to achieve their financial goals with a personalized approach to managing this so that you get your financial aspirations met in a world that works, or in a way that works in your world. Because I've been to financial advisors who told me what to do, and I didn't like it from the second they started talking. So Serena has a completely different approach. So I'm really excited. Serena, welcome.
Thank you so much, Mardi. I believe you just summed everything up. So are we done here?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We're over.
You did great. You did great. Thank you.
But I really think, and I know we're going to get into this a little bit more, and money is a part of our life. And if we're not feeling good about how we're structuring, how we're planning, how we're managing and handling our money, that's going to have a big impact on us. So I know that's one of the kind of the focuses we've got today. But Serena, before we get into all of that, why are you here in this? Not why are you here physically, but why is this your area of focus and passion? Because I don't think, if I remember our conversation, this kind of wasn't where you started out.
No, and my started out has had many different iterations. I am an adult who never really knew what she wanted to be when she grew up. And I've been in many different careers. And I think that one of the beautiful things about that is that I've taken little pieces from each of those careers and learned, okay, that's a really good way to do that. Or I'd rather not do that way. And I try and view the whole of my varied experiences as one big lesson that has got me to this place. And now my job as a life coach and a financial strategist is to help other people shorten the journey so that they don't have to take as long as I did to get there.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And so many of the professionals that I get an opportunity to interview, and a privilege to interview, you do have that alignment with your life experience and how you want to limit the stress or mitigate the stress and the confusion that so many other people are in, because we've all gone through it ourselves and we're like, heck no, we don't want anybody else to have to go through all that stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as a business owner, that's one of the reasons I got into the financial profession. I've come from owning a business, but not being involved in all of the nitty gritty, to then working for other people. I've worked in management, I've worked in retail, I've worked in the food industry. And when I finally got to the point where I decided that I wanted to be a life coach, I suddenly realized I don't know how to do the financial piece of that. I've never run the whole business on my own. And so because my brain works this way, my thought was, I'll just get a job in financial planning or something along those lines. And so I started putting my feelers out there and found this position with this financial strategist team. And it was so in alignment with the way that my soul and my brain work in the service to others industry. Because I didn't want to just be somebody that came in as an expert and didn't listen to the human side of it on the other side. I wanted to come in and say, no, I'm concerned about you. I work for my clients. I don't work for a company. I work for my clients.
Right.
And I want to create that individualized plan to help them elevate. They talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and money's kind of low down there because it's one of those ones that people need to be able to move on to the next levels. And so if I can help people achieve peace of mind in that area, then they can go about their lives doing the next level up and not have to worry about it so much.
And, that's very true, because if you have financial worries, and if you've never been in this situation, wonderful. But if you have, and I have, where you're like, I really don't know how I'm going to make this payment, or you're kind of juggling. Mine was through when my husband had his massive health issue. I mean,
Yes.
I was really stressed about the money because we were down one income and mounting like hundreds of thousands of medical dollars in medical bills.
Yes.
And it's easy to say, oh, I don't have to worry about it because I'm good with money, or I have some money in the bank, but when you hit those kind of critical things, holy cow, your life just revolves around worry and stress about money.
Exactly. And so many people don't know where to turn to find the answers.
Yeah.
And so many people will rely on, oh, your aunt's friend at church told you about something that you should probably do. She doesn't know anything about your financial situation. I'm sure she meant well, but maybe her advice for what worked for her is not so great for you.
Yeah.
And so I've had people come to me and say, I'm just here to have the informational session. I don't really need any help with my finances. And my response to that is always fantastic. I love to teach. So let's just have a conversation. I'll get to know you. And by the end, they're telling me, oh, I had no idea the depth of things that you could work with. And I didn't even think about that before.
Yeah.
And so then I'm able to come in and help. Sometimes I'm not able to come in and help. It's not for everybody. Some people do have their finances completely in order, and that's fine. I just look at it as I've just made another friend.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful. So let's talk about that, because you kind of created a really nice segue to this. Why does everybody need a financial plan?
yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I like to share with people is that as they're looking at retirement, a lot of people just have this nebulous kind of retirement goal in mind, and they're not really sure what that looks like when they get there. Or they'll say things like, yes, I'm contributing to my retirement, and they know that it's, 3% of their paycheck and that their employer matches that, but they don't really understand what that looks like down the road. Also, a lot of people don't think as of life insurance or other types of insurance as financial planning, but it is. It's a good piece of it. Also, maybe somebody knows how to run a budget, but they've never thought about how to maximize that budget or direct things in a certain way. And I've had people come to me and say, I am completely fine with my own budget. And then I've looked over the numbers and something will just pop out to me. For example, someone's car insurance the other day was in the hundreds of dollars per month. And I kind of raised my hand and said, that's a red flag for me. Have you thought about shopping around for that anymore? And they said, well, no, the insurance company just told me that's what I had to pay.
Right.
And I went, okay, but that to me raises a red flag. So let's look and see what we can find out to help you max. If every dollar counts, let's make it count.
Yeah, and here's what I hear a lot of people say. I don't want to do, and I get this resistance in my clients that are going through divorce. I don't want to do a financial plan because I don't know I don't know what my life is going to be on the other side of the divorce. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to be getting, if I'm going to be getting alimony. Am I going to be moving? Am I going to keep the house? I don't know anything, so I don't need to have a financial plan. Kind of until I already have this, accumulation of funds, then I should go and start looking at a financial plan. What do you say to that, Serena?
I had to tell you a funny story, and that is that no one has ever come to me and said, man, I wish I hadn't started this as soon as I did. You know what I hear all the time? Man, I wish I would have started this sooner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's an unknown. People come to me with an education session and they think they have to bring their tax returns and their, complete history of money and all that. That's not everybody's path. So just come and learn for an hour, see if what I do is even helpful for you, and then we'll go on from there. And there's never any pressure because, like I said, I'm not a salesperson and I'm not going to come in and just have all the answers without hearing people's stories. So,
right. And I do think a lot of people, have this feeling that if they go to a professional such as yourself, that they're going to be put on a budget. And I'm putting that in quotes because that's a real dirty word for some people,
Mhm.
where, they're not going to be able to have their Starbucks coffee, or they're not going to be able to go out for dinner, or they can't enjoy like a fancy glass of wine sometime, or whatever their kind of luxury item is, or they can't go to the movie, or they can't. This is what I hear when I hear people talk about budgets. So what are your thoughts on budgets?
Oh, I love that. I think budgets are completely a fantastic tool, but I think people think about them the wrong way. And that's so interesting because the parallel is there with life coaching as well. Talking about, because my life coaching works with productivity and wellness. And so, of course, in wellness, we talk about food. And people are like, I can't eat this. I can't drink that because I'm on a diet. That to me is the mindset of someone who is holding themselves back. Let's lean in to what it is that you can do and be excited about that. Maybe if we look at the budget and you realize, I think a lot of people are scared of being told, hey, by the way, you spend $300 a month on Starbucks because they don't want to change anything. But
Right.
if you lean into, hey, if you put that $300 a month toward retirement, you might be able to retire X number of years earlier than you originally thought. How does that sound?
Right. Right. And you don't ever, it's not like you can never have a Starbucks again, maybe.
Exactly.
So I live out in the country and I can't do Starbucks because there's none around me. So I went and bought one of those fancy barista things that grinds the
Yeah.
coffee, and then you take the little thing out and you make your own. And I love it. And it costs me a fraction of the cost, like of a Starbucks. And I can have as many fancy coffees a day as I want. I typically stick with one in the morning, but you can do whatever you want. So there are workarounds to some of these things. I love this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also, I think people tend to be very absolute in their minds. And so they think that if we make a budget, then that's the budget for the rest of time. No, it's
Right.
not set in stone. Same with the financial plan. I'm not ever going to come into somebody and be like, well, you have to put this much money aside for the rest of your life. It's not set in stone. It's reviewed annually and semi-annually. And we talk about goals and what's changed because life changes.
Well, that's what I was
And
going to say. Like maybe you get a big promotion, or maybe you lose a job, or maybe you go from full time to part time. Like or maybe you retire and maybe your retirement goals have changed. So, yeah, I mean, you can do all those kind of things. So, this kind of ties into the next question, I think, as well.
okay.
So, we've talked about making decisions, making a budget. But what happens if you have a fear about making decisions and you just do the ostrich thing and stick your head in the sand and don't do anything because making a decision maybe is a little scary too?
That is more of a problem than you would probably think, because I'll give you an example. In the financial industry, we have three types of professionals generally. You have your bankers, you have your securities brokers, and you have your insurance agents. And all three of those, while they are phenomenal industries and we utilize partnerships with all of them, they will kind of tend to stay in their lane and offer the products and services that their particular company offers. And so let's say you, Marty, got an inheritance and you decided, I would like to, put some extra money aside for my retirement. And you said, well, I really have a good relationship with my bank. And I also really trust my insurance agent. They've been an insurance agent for a long time. But also, I've heard from people that I should probably invest in the stock market. And you then, doing your due diligence, go to each of those professionals and ask them what you should do with your money. Do you think they're all going to give you the same answer?
No, I bet you not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that's where most people are stuck because they've heard also from many other people. They probably have talked to somebody at a bank who's asked them to do a savings account. They probably have talked to an insurance agent, but don't maybe know that you can use insurance as a wealth building tool. So they kind of in the fear of not wanting to mess up because we live in that society. Don't make a mistake. And when you're talking about your money, that's your livelihood, in the future. So that's one of those times where I just like to say, it's okay. Take a deep breath. We're going to work through this together. We're going to look at all the different options. We're going to look at what a bank could do, what an insurance company could do, what investing in the stock market could do. And then we'll look at the pros and the cons, and then you can make a decision based on what's right for you. Now, I can make a recommendation, but ultimately it's up to you to make the decision for what feels right.
Right. And so I think that's really good because you can get analysis paralysis where you have too much information and you're
Absolutely.
stuck with what do you do. I see, and this happens for people in divorce as well. Which attorney do I hire, which, there's all of these kind of things. And this is where I think like what you offer, that educational call is phenomenal because people can take a look and listen and then go, and go away and think about it. And that's another thing that I wanted to touch base with you. And you mentioned it, and I hadn't thought of it before now, but that whole idea of, is the person who's talking to you selling a specific brand or label? Like if you go to a Ford dealership, you're only getting sold a Ford car, right? And that's the same with some of these financial companies where they're only going to sell their own product. And that's perfectly fine, but you need to be aware of that, right? As the consumer.
Exactly. And that's where I believe it's so important to have someone like me or someone on my team or within my group of people to come in and know how to shop around for you, because that's also another piece that people struggle with. Because you might know that you, for example, are paying too much for auto insurance, but the time it takes to log on and shop around and make the phone calls and enter the information on the different sites, that's pretty time consuming. And for busy people especially, that's just too much effort. They'd rather just go with the amount and not have to waste their time. So that's where all the classes that I've taken and the people on my team, and we have so many people that can do specialties in certain areas. And so we chat all the time. Hey, I've got a client over here whose goal is this. And I think that the best strategy would be X, Y, and Z. And what do you guys all think? And then someone will say, yes, but I also just learned of this other company that's offering a bonus. And then you just fill in the blank and it grows and evolves. And then we kind of get to shop around. So I work with over 190 leading financial partners in the industry. And I'm able to, sort of like Amazon, kind of go on and be like, I'll take some of this from this company and some of this and create this beautiful package of the complete financial plan that people are after that meets all of their needs.
And this is something I think that anybody who's listening really needs to consider, because there is that. I mean, I've gone in, I won't name any companies here, but I have gone into financial companies, and it has been right from walking through the door, it's been a high pressured sales deal to invest in their product. And thankfully, I'm the kind of person that is comfortable with saying, nope, not interested, and walking out. I'm okay with doing that. A lot of people, men and women, are not comfortable with that. If they schedule an appointment, they go in, and these salespeople, that's what they're there for. They're there to get you to buy their product, and they can make things sound really good that may not be. They may be good, okay, but they may not be good compared to what else is offered out there on the market. And working with somebody like you who can take that 30,000-foot view of what's out there, that's really gives you an advantage, doesn't it? Gives the consumer an advantage, the person.
It does. It does. And it creates really great relationships because, like I said, I'm not a salesperson. So my job is not to convince you to buy anything. It's to educate my clients. And then if I can help them out, I get paid a brokerage fee no matter which company I work for. But that's not the point of it. The point of it is to make the world a better place, which gets down to kind of my why, which is, I don't know if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, but they're having a council with the Ents, the trees that are talking, and they say, we've decided not to be a part of this war. And the hobbits say, how can you not take part? You're part of this world. And I've messed up the quote a little bit, but that's the most important part, is that part at the end. You're a part of this world. And so me being a part of this world, I know that my community is better when my neighbors are more well off and the people in my church are more well off. And if we are all more well off, then we can extend further into our extended communities. And my mission really is to make the world a better place through helping one family at a time achieve financial peace of mind.
That is so refreshing.
Thank you.
Really, seriously, that's so refreshing. Now, let's say somebody is listening and they are thinking, wow, that sounds great, but I really don't have any money to be investing, or I really, I'm kind of going, maybe not paycheck to paycheck. Maybe I'm putting a little bit of aside, but I'm really not able to do much. What's your advice for somebody like that? Is it impossible to do anything in that situation, or what do you think?
Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. And so the best advice that I have would be to have the conversation, because I know it's hard to get up your hope and then be told, I'm sorry, there's nothing that we can do at this time. Here's the other piece, though. It may not work for right now, but maybe I could suggest a couple of things that would be able to help in the future
Right.
to be able to get more on the right path. We help everyone from single moms living in Section 8 housing, putting aside $50 a month towards their future, to millionaires. We'll work with anybody. The mission of our company is no family left behind, because we believe that financial education should be available literally to every single person.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, talking to Serena is really like this. It is. It's not, it's such a refreshing way. And I know I've said that before, but it really is. It's providing that education, giving people the information they need, and then trusting that they are able to make the decision that's going to be in their own best interest to do this. And I love that it doesn't, there's no minimum income or minimum disposable income cutoff. You can work with anybody. And you're right, because I think sometimes even a fresh set of eyes looking at how you're doing your budget right now, maybe could find you that $50 extra to put aside every month. And it adds up quickly if you're doing the right things with it.
Absolutely. And we have people that have come in and said, I have zero money to play with, or even negative, Mardi. And we've sat down as a team where no other financial advisor would touch them because they couldn't afford to pay for the services. Oh, by the way, we do this for free. I don't know if I said that before or not, but our services are complimentary. We only get paid if we help people through the brokerage fees, so which are very, very minimal. We've sat down with families that are negative every month and worked out a situation to where they could be back in the black and putting money aside every month to their savings account, to be able to, they were looking at being able to go on a family vacation for the first time in 9 years. It's phenomenal. And then, of course, the joy on these people's faces, that's the real payday, because they've gone from hopeless and not knowing how they were ever going to dig themselves out of this hole to now we have a plan, and we can do things for businesses. We can do things for individuals. It doesn't matter the financial situation. We're just more than happy to sit down and have a conversation. And if nothing else, have someone who believes in this human being in our clients to be able to take the next steps.
Fantastic. Out of everything we've talked about, and this conversation has gone so quickly, out of everything you've shared, what do you think is the one takeaway you want people to remember today?
I think don't be afraid to start. Like I said before, I've had so many people that have said, I wish I would have started this conversation earlier, but I've never had anyone say, well, shoot, I started it too early.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I just want to stress that this is a complimentary service. There's absolutely no cost to book a call and talk to Serena and have her take a look at where you are and either let you know what she can do or potentially set you up to be able to work on it and come back and see her at a later date. So, Serena, tell us a little bit about your company and how people can reach you. What's the best way to get hold of you?
Absolutely. I work with the Miliari group, and Miliari, you get to learn a new word today, Mardi. Miliari means milestone in Italian. So we like to think of that as, here's the milestone. We're marking starting today. We're measuring from here forward in your financial journey. So the Miliari group, and you can find more information at mymiliari.com. And then also you can find information about booking with me specifically or people on my team at my website. And it's kind of a combined website with my life coaching business, which is serenadoinglife.com.
That is fantastic. And Serena, I know that you also have a gift for everybody listening in today if they want to take advantage of that. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? And I'll make sure the link gets in the chat for that, or in the in the show notes for that one.
Absolutely. I would be happy to. One of the first things that we talk about with people is compounding interest and how it can work both for you and against you. And one of the things that people don't realize that's a very simple tool to use is the rule of 72. And what that does is it tells you how quickly your money will double in an interest earning account. And so I've got a cheat sheet for the rule of 72 for everybody. And it also reflects on there how it can work against you with credit card debt, because the credit card companies use the rule of 72 and it tells you how fast their money doubles as you've got money in their credit cards. So it's just eye-opening, and hopefully that will help somebody understand how compounding interest works a little bit better and think about maybe moving their funds to a more interest-bearing account, interest-earning account.
Wonderful, a fantastic gift and a resource. And I'll make sure that information, just look for a link below in the written comments below this, the show notes. So Serena, thank you so much for being here today and sharing all of this wonderful information and kind of giving us a really calming look at how to deal with money and finances.
Thank you, Marty, for having me. It's always such a pleasure to talk to you.
And you too, Serena. And thank you, everybody, for listening in to this episode of The D Shift. And don't forget to tune in to the next one. Thanks for listening and supporting the D Shift podcast. If you would like to attend live trainings by our amazing guests and have a chance to ask questions and get answers from our experts, join the D Shift crew. For more details and to sign up, head on over to www.divorcecoachforwomen and click on the podcast page.